At this point, I think it's safe to say that I'm full-blown addicted to Deltarune. I've been making fan art of Deltarune, I've made some shorts about Deltarune, I've used it multiple times as an excuse for not uploading, and now I'm out here making a full video about it too. I've been a Deltarune fan ever since Prime Undertale, and I've been an Undertale fan ever since Jacksepticeye made his full playthrough of Undertale back in 2015. I fell in love with Undertale back then, bro. It was so good. The story, the characters, the lore. I loved it all so much. So when I saw that he uploaded a video about Deltarune in 2018 calling it Undertale 2, I was like, nah, ain't no way, bro, ain't no way. This gotta be a fan game or something. It was real! The sequel of Undertale was finally here! And man, this game brought back so many memories, bro. You gotta understand, I was a big Undertale fan. I was watching all kinds of videos. I was watching theories about the game, finding more lore and secrets about the game, checking out all the different routes you can take, watching all these custom AU fan games about Undertale, seeing what kind of events happen if you have certain fun values, watching all these custom Sans fights, trying to find out who the fuck WD gets. Like, I was very invested in Undertale. And also the songs, bro. Like, oh my brother. Back then, I was banging to those beats all the time. I've been listening to the O's so much that the Undertale O's deadass came in my Spotify Wrapped. So my expectations were high when I saw that Deltarune Chapter 1 got released. Now, I didn't have a PC or console or anything back then, so I had to rely on Jacksepticeye's playthrough. So thank you, Sean. Thank you so much for your playthrough. You're an absolute legend and I love you. You funny Irish man. I kiss you on your forehead. Anyway, I was watching his playthrough, right? Man, seeing all these familiar faces from Undertale again, bro. It just felt so heartwarming, I swear to God. I'm assuming this took place after the pacifist ending of Undertale, but I don't know for sure yet. When I was watching his playthrough, I became so obsessed with Deltarune. Just the whole story of Chris, Susie, and Ralsei was so well made. And also don't forget the beats, bro. I thought Undertale was peak, but damn, listen to this, bro. The whole game was a vibe for real. Just a whole new battle system, the new characters, the secrets and secret bosses, the mysteries of the shadow crystals, the song, the dark world, the lore got me so invested. They went through that whole adventure, met many amazing people, defeat the king, is that ass real? Seal the fountain and then come back to the light world as if nothing ever happened. Absolute cinema. Also, once you finally get to explore the town on your own and talk with so many familiar people, it felt amazing, bro. Like talking with Undyne and seeing how she became a police officer, talking with Elvis and seeing she became a teacher, talking with Asgore and seeing he is Chris's dad now, and talking with Then we go home and see Chris rip his soul out of his chest, throw it in a cage and grabbing a knife while looking evil at the camera. And that was it. I got in my Deltarune phase for a while and then it kind of died off because this was also during Prime Fortnite. After Chapter 1, I didn't really check back on Deltarune and Undertale, to be honest. I just kind of moved on and completely forget about it until September 18, 2021 when Sean uploaded another video about Chapter 2. Let's go!
Minecraft.
Whoa. Apparently Chris just ate that entire fucking pie by himself at the end of Chapter 1. My guy on the boom! Anyway, this chapter we got into the cyberworld with Noelle, Bertie and Queen. And Ralsei's back! This is also the chapter where your choices really start to matter. Like in Undertale, there are 3 main routes you can pick. The neutral route, the pacifist route, or the genocide route. I don't think there's really a pacifist or genocide route, as you can't kill darkness in Deltarune. However, there's this one part where you can force Noelle to freeze darkness, which causes them to be frozen in place forever, and start a so-called snow grave or weird route, which is also very interesting to see how that will play out in future chapters. But in general, this chapter was also very amazing. There were so many new iconic characters like Queen, Spamton, Task Manager, and I love how Susie's character development keeps increasing throughout each chapter. Also, like the music again. I swear I might be glazing at this point, but like the songs are so good, bro. But overall, this chapter again was so well made. They eventually convince Queen not to be bad, become friends, get all the recruits in Castletown, and after that you get to explore Castletown and Hometown again, but this time together with Susie. So of course we gotta stop by and talk to Eventually Susie stays over, they fell asleep on the couch, Chris creates a fucking dark fountain in the living room, and that was the end of chapter 2. After chapter 2 I was in my Deltarune phase for like a few weeks, maybe months, and then it died off again after some time. Then later I just continued my life, you know, focusing on school, working, gym. I even started this channel. Please subscribe, we're trying to hit 500 subs, it will mean a lot. And then never looked back on Deltarune again. Then this one time I was just doom scrolling endlessly on Instagram Reels, and I kept seeing Reels about Deltarune Tomorrow. I didn't think much of it at the time, because I didn't realize that Deltarune Tomorrow was an actual thing. So I checked the Deltarune site, and there was a countdown for chapter 3 and 4. After 4 years of waiting, there's finally Deltarune again. So I had to revisit Deltarune chapter 1 and 2 again to catch up to the lore and story. And then the day finally came. June 5th, 2025. Deltarune today! There was also the Switch 2 release, but we do not care. We got Deltarune again, let's fucking go! Bro, I was on a Steam page just checking for when I can buy Deltarune. I deadass couldn't buy the game for like a solid 10 minutes. There was probably so much hype and demand for Deltarune that Steam gave so many errors when trying to buy the game. Eventually I managed to buy the game and we were so bad. Bro, that feeling again to finally revisit a game you've played years ago, it just felt so nostalgic, I swear to god. I was so hyped for Deltarune and it did not disappoint. The entirety of chapter 3 was amazing, bro. This time you started off in the dark world because Chris created a fucking dark fountain in the living room at the end of chapter 2. They walk around a bit and somehow reunite with Ralsei again. He eventually tells them that everything in the dark world is an illusion, meaning Lancer, Queen, and even Ralsei isn't real. But I don't care. You're real to me, Ralsei. You're real to me. And then Tenna just shows up out of nowhere. And brother, the moment I saw him, I instantly loved him. He reminded me a lot of Mettaton. Bro, his character design and everything, bro. I just had to draw him. That's why I've been drawing more lately, especially with Deltarune fan art. Also, I know I've said it multiple times before, but like the music again, bro. I swear, out of all the chapters so far, chapter 3 had the most bang. And out of all the bosses so far, Tenna gotta be by far my favorite one. Also the backstory of Tenna and seeing how Tenna comforted Chris during hard times is just so heartwarming, man. I just wanna hug you, bro. I just wanna... Tenna, no! I swear, I would have crashed out if I had to wait another year for chapter 4. But thankfully chapter 3 and 4 dropped together, so we can hop right into chapter 4, baby! Chapter 4 is when you truly start to worry about everything. Because back in chapter 1 all the way to chapter 3, it was just all funny shit and giggles, because everything was in a dark world and it wasn't real. We were just having a fun adventure, but after the end of chapter 3, shit starts to get real. Because the light ward is now involved, with Undyne being captured in the bunker. And they hurt Tenna, my homie! After Susie and Chris couldn't open the bunker, they went back to see the fountain in Chris's living room. Turns out that already happened. They eat some breakfast and eventually go to the church together to find some clues to get Undyne out of the bunker, and eventually go to Noelle's house to find some clues for the bunker. Susie and Noelle hang out while we find the code inside of a guitar. Damn. This part though, this part is really interesting because this is where you truly get to see that there's a difference between us and Chris. That we control Chris instead of being Chris. Remember at the beginning of chapter 1 where you had to create a vessel? We were supposed to control that vessel we've created, but the vessel got discarded and now we control Chris. The lore is insane! As the soul, we get to explore around Noelle's house, find some secrets, see the subplot between Susie and Noelle, while Chris is beefing with us the whole fucking time. Eventually they get kicked out by Noelle's mom, Carol. She a bitch, I don't care, I don't like her. Even though she's probably stressed out because Des is missing again and her husband Rudy is fucking dying. They go home, but they don't have the key, so they head to the church where Toria's doing her choir practice. So they go to the church. It's another dark world. They go in and hey, the fountain is nearby. Damn, guess it's not gonna be a long adventure after all. Hey, it's the Roaring Night. Damn. Chris is bleeding and Susie tries to help, but somehow is Ralsei back again? I don't know how. How are you back? And why did you just run off right after we paused? Eventually they continue and it's getting darker and darker. Ralsei panics and tells us to run left. They see a light ahead and Susie's ready to fight. Then we meet the old man. Why does he look familiar? Anyway, they continue. We step on Ralsei, see the library of the old man, read the legend of the magic axe, play some more piano, getting darker and darker as we move on, fighting Jackenstein and taking too long, see the old man come back multiple times and mentoring Susie, Ralsei acting more weird again, see Chris play the piano extremely smooth, find some more secrets, fight the old man, watch the Roaring Night escape us again, seal the fountain and go back to the light world. We get to explore around and find a way to actually get inside of the church room. We can go into a couple of rooms where we get to see more backstory about Susie and see that the old man is actually dead. We get to explore around till Susie decides to make another fucking dark fountain again. And we're back in the dark world, but the colors and lighting are different. They continue and find the old man. Turns out it's not the old man and reunite with Ralsei again. Susie crashes out while Chris is just standing there. Ralsei tells them that he's been acting weird because he knows everything and doesn't want Susie and Chris to worry about the ending of the prophecy. They continue onward, get the code to enter the dark world in the church room and seal the fountain of the second sanctuary. They enter the code and they're back in the third sanctuary. They meet up with Jackenstein and all the other friends to help us fight the night. They continue and it's getting darker and darker. Eventually it's pitch black and they keep getting attacked. But then Chris's soul shines a bright light and together they continue forward, helping each other take all the bullets and supporting each other when someone falls. Man, this scene, it hits hard, bro, I swear to God. They reach the end of the hallway and meet the Roaring Night again. Motherfucker creates another dark fountain in the dark world and creates a fucking titan. We climb the titan and eventually face him. Together we shall beat his ass with the power of friendship. Damn. Old man! Eventually Susie comes up with an idea and we dunk on a fucking titan and defeat it. This scene. This is when you truly realize that something bad is about to happen in the future. We don't know what the ending of the prophecy is. All we know is that it made Susie's hand bleed as she punched the prophecy out of anger and Ralsei became extremely worried. Seeing Ralsei with blood on his face and telling Chris that everything is okay just made me feel sad. When I saw this during my first playthrough, I just had to comfort him. This is when I truly became convinced that Ralsei isn't evil. The fact that he acted weird just to make sure that we wouldn't see the ending of the prophecy and telling us that if someone's getting hurt, it should be him. It's just sad, man. Like, I know Ralsei isn't real, but that doesn't mean that he should be treated as a nobody. You're still real to me, Ralsei! You're real to me! Eventually they seal the fountain and go back to the light world. Turns out Toriel and the others weren't even there. So they go back to Chris's house after experiencing probably one of the worst days of their lives. They go home and they were home the whole time. Chris, I'll be with you if you want to crash out over sand. Brother, listen to me, listen. He's 1 HP, bro. He can only take 1 hit. I've beaten him multiple times in genocide routes for fun, Chris. I know you hate me, Chris, but he's 1 HP. We can beat his ass together if you want. Eventually, Susie also goes home and Chris tries to sleep while Toriel's getting boned by Sans. And then Toby hits us with "To be continued, chapter 5, 2026. Toby, you can't make me wait another full year just for chapter 5, brother. After chapter 4, I became way too invested in Deltarune. That's when I truly started looking more into the lore and theories about Deltarune, because I'm left with so many questions like, who is Ralsei? How does he keep coming back and treating himself like shit? What are Dark Worlds? Who is the Roaring Knight? Is Asriel actually coming back? And if so, will he even care about Chris? Will Chris even care about Asriel? Why did Toriel and Ash got divorced? And will they ever be together again like the good old days when Chris and Asriel were still kids? Where's Papyrus? What is happening with Undyne while she's stuck in that bunker? Why is Carol only allowing Chris to be welcome in their home? Is Des coming back? Is Des the Roaring Knight? Did Ash go run over Des with his truck? Were Asriel and Des together? Is the Roaring Knight hiding in the light where once Chris and Susie wakes up? Is Ralsei Asriel? Why does Chris hate us? What will happen if you continue the Snowgrave route? What's in the bunker? Is Ralsei talking with Chris when Chris closes their eyes to focus on something else? Who's the person on the phone talking to Chris? Are we gonna fight Sam? I have so many questions. I need to know the full lore, Toby. I can't wait another year just for chapter 5, man. Also, when Deltarune chapter 3 and 4 came out, that's when I truly started to get inspired and motivated to improve my artistic skills. That's why I've been making a lot of Deltarune fan art lately, and will still continue because I fucking love Deltarune, bro. This is by far the longest script I've ever written for a video. Here's the whole script if you're interested. This is probably gonna take a while for me to edit. It is now July 7th at the time of finishing this script. Yo, hey, it's voiceover me. It is now July 11th at the time of me finishing this voiceover. This shit's gonna take a very long time for me to edit. I can already tell, because the recording so far is like 16-17 minutes long. Editor me will let you know what time it is once I get to edit this part. Editor me will let you know what time it is when you get to edit this yes piece of shit. Bro, it is now July 3rd when I'm editing this part, bro. Look at how much shit I've done, bro. It's also been a month since my last video. I was too busy drawing and sleeping till 2-3 p.m. If you've actually came this far into watching this video, please do consider subscribing. We've almost hit 500 subs and it would mean a lot to me. Yeah, thank you so much if you've made it this far. I kiss you on your forehead.